Selfishness is often a word that carries a heavy weight, a label reserved for those who take without giving, those who prioritize their own needs over the well-being of others. It's easy to see selfishness as a negative trait, something to be ashamed of or suppressed. But is selfishness truly a flaw? What if, instead of condemning it outright, we could recognize the potential it holds if only we learn to use it wisely? At its core, selfishness is a natural and essential part of our existence. It is the engine of survival, the instinct that drives us to take care of ourselves. Without selfishness, there would be no motivation to feed ourselves, no desire to protect our bodies, no urge to secure our place in the world. Selfishness is not merely about taking more than we need, it's about preserving ourselves, ensuring that we can continue to thrive in an ever-changing world. It is this very selfishness that enables us to endure the trials of life and reach for our dreams. The body is rich in selfishness. Each cell, each heartbeat, each breath is a testament to the survival instinct, to the desire to continue, to live. Our bodies are designed to thrive, to adapt, to sustain life, and to protect the essence of who we are. Every part of us is programmed to serve our own well-being, and this drive is the foundation of existence. Without it, we would be lost in the chaos of the world, vulnerable to its harsh realities. The richness of selfishness is not a flaw but a fundamental part of being alive. But selfishness is not a one-dimensional concept. It is not simply about taking and hoarding, it is also about creating, about nurturing, and about building the foundation from which we can give. Giving is an act of selfishness, but not in the way we might initially think. In order to give, we must first have something to give. We must build our own strength, our own resources, our own stability. Giving without a foundation is like trying to pour water from an empty cup. It depletes us and leaves us with nothing. This is where the balance of selfishness becomes crucial. In order to help others, we must first help ourselves. This doesn't mean that we should hoard or isolate ourselves from the world. It simply means that we must ensure that our own needs are met so that we can contribute meaningfully to the lives of others. When we prioritize self-care, we create a well from which we can draw when we need to give. Selfishness, in this sense, becomes the very foundation of generosity. Even the most selfless of people must recognize the importance of selfishness. Heroes like Superman and Batman, who dedicate their lives to saving others, are not immune to this truth. They may seem like paragons of selflessness, but they too must take care of themselves. Superman needs to connect with his humanity, to find moments of peace and solitude to recharge. Batman must confront his own demons, face his inner darkness, and acknowledge his own pain. Without this self-care, they would be unable to fulfill their heroic roles. Their selfishness, in its purest form, allows them to continue their work and make a difference in the world. This principle extends to all of us. We must recognize that in order to give to others, we must first be able to give to ourselves. This isn't about indulging in greed or excess, it's about ensuring that we have the strength, the energy, and the resources to support the people we care about. Just as a tree must take in sunlight, water, and nutrients to grow, we too must nurture ourselves in order to grow and give. Yet, selfishness, like all things, has its limits. When it becomes destructive, when it shifts from self-care to greed, it can cause harm. Greed is the shadow side of selfishness, the distortion of the desire for self-preservation into a relentless hunger for more power, more wealth, more recognition at the expense of others. Greed blinds us to the needs of those around us and isolates us from the very connections that make life meaningful. It becomes a destructive force, one that consumes everything in its path. To resolve this destructive form of selfishness, we must engage in self-reflection. We must recognize when our actions are motivated by greed rather than genuine need. We must ask ourselves whether our desires are serving us or consuming us. This is where practices like meditation, shadow work, and manifestation come into play. These practices help us reconnect with our true selves, to understand our motivations, and to align our actions with our higher purpose. Meditation allows us to quiet the noise of the world and listen to our inner voice. It helps us cultivate awareness of our thoughts and emotions, enabling us to identify when selfishness is becoming destructive. Shadow work, on the other hand, involves confronting the parts of ourselves that we tend to ignore or suppress. It's about embracing the darker aspects of our nature, the parts that we may feel ashamed of or uncomfortable with, and integrating them into our understanding of who we are. By doing so, we transform these shadow elements from sources of destruction into sources of strength. Manifestation is another tool that can help us redirect our selfishness toward positive outcomes. It's about focusing our intentions on creating the life we desire, while being mindful of the impact our actions will have on others. Manifestation isn't about demanding more for ourselves, it's about aligning our desires with the greater good and ensuring that our actions are in harmony with our values. Selfishness, when approached with awareness and intention, becomes a powerful force for good. It allows us to care for ourselves, to nurture our growth, and to build the foundation from which we can give to others. It creates a cycle of abundance, where self-care and generosity are not opposing forces, but complementary ones. By taking care of ourselves, we are better able to take care of others. And in taking care of others, we enrich our own lives in ways we cannot yet fully understand. This is the richness of selfishness. It is not about hoarding or greed, it is about nurturing ourselves so that we can contribute meaningfully to the world. It is about creating a life that is balanced, fulfilling, and rich in purpose. It is about recognizing that we are not separate from the world but an integral part of it. Our selfishness, when properly understood, becomes a force for connection, not division. Imagine a world where selfishness is no longer seen as a vice, but as a necessary part of the human experience. A world where people recognize that in order to care for others, they must first care for themselves. A world where self-care is not viewed as indulgence, but as an essential part of living a meaningful life. In such a world, selfishness would not tear us apart, it would bring us together. It would create a loop of abundance, where each person's well-being contributes to the well-being of the whole. This is the new richness of selfishness. It is not a scarcity-driven, zero-sum game, it is an ever-expanding, ever-enriching cycle. It is a richness that grows not just in material wealth but in the depth of our relationships, in the fulfillment of our dreams, and in the satisfaction of knowing that we are living in alignment with our highest values. So let us embrace our selfishness. Let us see it for what it truly is, a force for survival, growth, and connection. Let us not shy away from it but cultivate it with care and intention. For in doing so, we unlock its true potential and create a world that is richer in every sense of the word. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the paradoxes of life. If you found this video thought-provoking, give it a like and share it with others who might enjoy unraveling these mysteries. Don't forget to subscribe for more content exploring the edges of existence. Until next time, question everything and keep exploring your own destiny. Take care. Bye-bye.